Welcome to Taxidermy Truths, where we discuss the ins and outs of not only the taxidermy process, but the influences on the hunting community as a whole. With over 25 years in the wildlife and taxidermy industry, I host open conversations with artists, experts, and industry giants. From sustainable utilization to shipping rates, we dig into the reality of the experience after the safari and hear real stories worth remembering. Hi there, my name is Doug Cocroft and welcome to Taxidermy Truths. For the whole year, I've been excited about this podcast because having spent 25 years in this industry, it's easy to view it through my eyes from my perspective. But today I'm hoping to give you an insight into the perspective of two young ladies who've literally been raised in the taxidermy industry. I'm hoping that you can see that from a taxidermist perspective, although we work on all of these exotic, wonderful animals, we create these beautiful things. At the heart of it, we love family, we love hunting, we love what we do because it brings people together. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jess and Kerry. Jess and Kerry Smith. I've known Kerry since she was in grade 3. So that would have made her approximately 8 years old. When I was in grade 3, I'm sure I was about 14. So to spend some time with these two ladies is a privilege. As you're going to see, I've got a list of questions because I didn't want to catch you guys off guard. But these are questions that we've come up with, and I'd like to chat about them and see what the girls have got to say as true children of the taxidermy industry. To give you a bit of background as to how and why they fitted into the taxidermy industry, their dad, who is a remarkable taxidermist in his own right, ran his own business, developed his own taxidermy business for many years and worked in Port Elizabeth, not 5 miles from Splitting Image Taxidermy. In the last 2 years, Paul and I have joined up, and with a focus on creating something that truly is worth remembering and remarkable, Paul has now joined me at Splitting Image Taxidermy to drive the ship in a new direction. But these two young ladies have literally been brought up in the taxidermy shop. Welcome, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
There we go. Now, personality-wise, I'm gonna get this out the way first. Jess, you're not scared of the lights and the cameras?
No.
Okay, there we go. We figured that much out. She's used to it by now. I've seen her in a couple of roles on stage already. What was that last theatre?
Wicked Witch.
Wicked Witch.
Wicked Witch.
Fantastic. My kids thought you were incredible.
Thank you.
Kerry less so.
Very much less.
A quieter version. Kind of the more calculated.
Analytical.
You're the one I'd worry about. Because you're busy checking things out far too carefully for my liking. So let's dive into it. I see you've got some notes, and I'm glad because it helps keep everything in the right direction. Kerry, you don't have to use the ones you wrote in your hand.
Do you want to give them a show?
Yeah.
Hi guys.
You can stick to the crib notes you've got in front of you. So let's jump into it. Jess, let me start with you. Your earliest memory of hunting, because being brought up in the taxidermy shop naturally means that you yourself are a huntress. And yeah, the question's simple. What is your earliest memory?
I must have been about 3 or 4, and just in the garden at home, Dad set up the pellet gun at a target. Obviously, he put it in the direction it needs to be, and I just stand behind it and squeeze the trigger. But yeah, that would have been my earliest memory because I must have been about 3 or 4, and we've got pictures in the garden and my hair is literally still got the afro going. But yeah, I think at that stage he realized he's got 2 girls and these girls need to hunt now. So he'd already decided then he needs to get us used to that sort of environment. So
Starting to train us
early, train us young.
What he didn't know is you were actually training him.
True.
You were getting him prepared for the fact that you're going to grow up to be true huntresses.
Yes.
I've seen lots of pictures of you guys growing up with various animals that you both hunted. I think it's very important that you've just said your first memory is being set up with an air rifle at a target. It wasn't, you didn't turn around and say, my first memory was shooting my first springbuck.
Yeah.
So that speaks so importantly of the value of hunting. It's not just about killing. It's about learning. It's about spending time with family. It's about the anticipation.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, there's a springbuck, let's kill it.
Yes.
And I think that's the problem that we've got with the industry sometimes, is that hunters are perceived as being killers. And we're not.
Yeah.
We love the experience. We love the time outdoors. We love the time with family.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. I like that. I really do. Gary, I'm going to jump across onto your side. As a dad of daughters, I like this question. Do you think more young women should be exposed to hunting, and why?
Definitely. I think hunting being a more male-dominant activity puts young girls especially off hunting, and I think a lot of them don't get the opportunity to hunt. I think Jess and I have been very lucky to have a dad who is a PH and has the resources and connections to give us the opportunities to hunt like we do. But I think there's so many misconceptions, especially among girls. For example, that you can't hunt if you love animals. I mean, Jess and I are huge animal lovers, but I think hunting has given us even more respect for animals. I think I value the life of an animal so much more now. But it's also respect for nature and just being out there and seeing the animals interact in their natural environment. It's something you can't replicate anywhere else.
I think it's amazing. And like you said, it has traditionally been a male-dominated activity. It's macho. Yeah. Let's get out there and we're going to go and hunt and kill and eat, and, But we live in a world of equality. And to see young ladies come up through the ranks and who are, and I'm going to say this much to the displeasure of many, quite often women, I would say, are better shots than men.
My dad agrees.
Yeah.
He often says that girls especially take more time when hunting because they're so, I think girls are more emotionally involved in that they don't want to wound the animal, where boys in general can kind of go a bit...
Get too excited.
Yes.
There it is, let's go, let's go.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I hadn't thought of it like that. And my daughters have spent time on the range and out in the field as well. And there's definitely a more conscious approach to hunting. It's that feminine strength. I think it's very cool. So you think it's a good thing?
Yes, no, definitely.
And just to tell you both, just by what you've said, you've now increased your own responsibility to the industry. Because you, as young huntresses, are responsible for spreading the correct positive message about the hunting industry. Think about it. When your parents tell you not to do something, you kind of half listen. When your teacher tells you not to do something, you listen. So you need to speak with the same voice, speak the same language as the younger generation speak. And give that positive message across and tell the stories about the airgun hunt and that it brings family together. I think it's very important. So you have a responsibility on your shoulders.
I think it's also important to get the message across, like you said, that it's not just about the kill. It's more about going out into the veldt and, like you said, Jess and I have got such special memories with our dad that we can't make anywhere else.
Can't replicate.
No. I think, it's so much more than just the kill. Yeah.
And that opportunity needs to be given more to young women because, if a dad had to have a son and a daughter, he's more likely to take the son out hunting first. Traditionally, yes. So I think that's sort of a stereotype we need to break through as women.
Well, we need to change the stereotype.
Yeah.
So I have 3 daughters. Paul, you 2. I think this takes me back to an old saying, only good bulls breed heifers. So I think it's fantastic that we've got young ladies in the hunting industry out in the field. I think it's awesome. I think it's wonderful. Kerry, I'm going to stick on your side. What was the first animal that you hunted? And given that you made the comment about it being more emotional, go easy now. Tell me about the emotions attached to that first animal kill, that first hunt for you.
I think I was about 15 when I shot my first animal, and we were actually on an annual called the Lads and Fillies hunt.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And we were shooting springbuck that day, and we'd set up, I was all ready, but I don't think I was mentally and emotionally prepared to actually shoot yet. I don't think I'd fully comprehended what was about to happen. And these springbuck come out of nowhere, and my dad's like, okay, shoot, and I am not ready. Thank goodness I missed, because that would have been a mess. After about 10 minutes, we'd all calmed down, and I turned around and there was a black springbuck standing on the ridge line behind us. So Dad was like, okay, go for it. So we turned around, set up again, and I do think I was a lot more mentally prepared for what was about to happen. Took the shot, and I don't even think I looked through the scope to see if it went down. I was immediately like, okay, look at Dad, what happened? All good, animal was down. Getting to the animal was one of the most, I think, you feel every emotion. It's gratitude, it's awe, seeing the animal so close up. You don't often get to see that. And then the adrenaline was just, you can't get the adrenaline anywhere. It's like, I was shaking for, I think, at least 10 minutes afterwards. It was, yeah.
Any tears?
No, I don't think so.
From your dad, I mean?
No, definitely not. No. There might have been tears when he had to blood me.
And did you eat the liver?
No, thank goodness not.
Oh my goodness.
No, he didn't make us do that.
Best part of the meal. Huh? I'm glad that there is emotion. Hunting is about respect. As a taxidermist, we have the opportunity to create beautiful works of art that bring back those memories. And I think that's where the privilege of the taxidermist comes in, is that we get to relive these moments. It's phenomenal. I think it's very cool. So it was a black springbuck.
Yeah, black springbuck.
There we go. You and I have got something in common then.
It was also black.
Also a black springbuck.
How old were you? Do you reckon?
17, 18, somewhere there. Later in life, although brought up in a hunting family, it was big game hunting. And it was in East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, those areas. In South Africa, I didn't have much opportunity to hunt locally. So like you said, you've been brought up and your dad's got the connections. He had the means. He was in the industry. So that's something that is very unique. It's very special.
No, it is.
It really is. I love it. Love it. So Jess, I mean, I've seen you stone cold on stage. All right. I've seen you up there and you keep your composure. It's a pleasure to see someone who is confident in who they are as a young lady. It's awesome. Are you affected emotionally by the hunting?
When you're in the bush, you experience every emotion possible. You name an emotion and I will give you a reason for why we felt it and when we felt it. Biggest one, adrenaline. We can be like 5 minutes away from taking a shot. You see the animal, you're not like fully on the sticks yet, and my legs will start shaking. I shake more than Kerry. And you've just got to calm yourself down, get behind the sticks, breathe, and so adrenaline is definitely one of the biggest emotions that I go through. And then obviously just gratitude to be out there and to be making those memories with our father. It's something that you can never make again. And yeah.
I suppose every moment's different. Every hunt is different. If you've really worked hard and it's terrible weather and your feet are sore and it's just been a rough one, when it does culminate in a successful hunt together, and that doesn't mean you get the animal, but it's a successful time together.
But I think that's an important point, because I know one of Jessie's favorite hunts.
Yeah.
She didn't even have a shot.
Yeah.
It was just.
Really?
Yeah. We were in Kendrew and we walked past this hill and there were like 3 kudu in the bush. And huge, stunning, beautiful, and I got behind the sticks and I was squeezing ever so slightly and then it moved and I was on the horn then. So I stopped and then they slowly went behind the bushes. But I mean, that was one of my favorite hunts I've done just because it was just so...
How old were you?
No, that was this year.
This year's hunt. That's
This year.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And you're just finishing school now?
Yes. Just matriculated on Monday.
Monday, huh?
Monday.
So it's fresh.
It's fresh.
It's not real yet.
No, not real yet.
Your little sister's finally finished school. Can you believe it?
No,
Huh?
it's crazy.
Unbelievable. Like I said, considering how long I've known the two of you, it's quite scary. There's two questions coming up, and I'm going to bring them both together because I think there's a connect between them. And this delves into the more serious stuff around hunting and taxidermy, just from your perspective. I'd be interested to try and get an idea from a younger person's point of view. So I'm going to tie the two together, and feel free to answer, both of you. Do you see the value in hunting commercially? And do you think hunting is a good conservation tool? So there are different questions. One refers to the animal, okay, and how hunting benefits the animal. The other is, how does hunting the animal benefit commercially? So, yeah, I'm interested to get your take on both from a business side as well as a conservation side.
Yeah, I think hunting commercially is a sustainable way of protecting the wildlife itself. It obviously creates many jobs in terms of the farm workers, the skinners, the trackers, the transport of the animal from the farm to the butcher or to the taxidermy business itself, and then the taxidermy as well. And all these jobs just improves the economy. I think it also enforces the farmers to actually look after their animals and the farm itself. They have to make sure that there's no overpopulation of the animals, which could be detrimental to the species.
So that's the conservation side, Steve.
Yes.
So the hunter, and a lot of people get this wrong. How do you conserve an animal if you hunt it?
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily about conserving the animal, it's conserving the whole population.
Yeah.
Conserving the land, the fauna and flora. Okay, you get it.
Yeah.
That makes
I think
sense.
so.
No, you do. You hit the nail on the head.
But I think putting a value on the animal is important to avoid, let me just read my, over-exploitation.
Good. That's a big one right there. You're going to have to break that down for me. I'm not that bright. Over-exploitation, overuse.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think, like, for example, a springbuck is a lot more common and it's cheaper to hunt, whereas a kudu is a little bit more rare and more expensive. Therefore, more people are going to opt to hunt springbuck,
Correct.
which in turn protects different species.
Also, look at the breeding rates.
Exactly.
So you're going to find animals that breed fast tend to be a bit low down on the food chain, let's call it.
Yeah.
By no means lesser of a hunt, by no means lesser of a beautiful piece of art on your wall afterwards, but it's the facts.
Yeah.
And more mouths to feed means we have to manage the land. I like the word custodians. We're the custodians of wildlife. We have to look after wildlife to retain its value and make sure that the next generation of that animal in the breeding cycle has every opportunity at survival. Make you feel good to be part of that, huh?
Yeah.
That's quite cool. It really is.
No, it is.
I think that's a big misconception. One of the questions down the way is about the misconception.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the misconceptions about hunters, is that hunters are true conservationists. You both said it when we started chatting. You love animals. So we're starting to see the connect now. I like that. I like that. That being said, Jess, let me ask you this one. Is there anything, and don't say smelly socks, that's mine. Is there anything you don't like about hunting?
I don't do well in the cold. I really don't. And obviously hunting season, mainly winter months. So when we're in Adelaide or Bloemfontein, it can get down to -1, -2 degrees.
Right.
So you've got 2 layers of pants on, 3 layers of socks. Yet we've got suede hunting boots. And in the morning, there's like obviously dew. and that seeps through the boots, and then all 3 layers of my socks get wet. So then your feet are wet. So
You're like the Michelin Man.
yeah, I'm literally like this. And then throughout the day it gets warmer and you've got to like take off layers. It's a lot. But my dad knows the system now, so
I think he's got more photos on his phone of us huddled up in a little ball than of us actually hunting.
That's special.
yeah.
And it's great to hear you guys talk about time with your dad, because it's, as I said, as a dad of daughters, it's very special. I like that. This is an interesting one because of the era that we're in, era of social media and information passing hands quickly and people looking into our lives all the time. What do your friends think about you guys hunting? This is an interesting one because I know the school that you went to is a very good, very upmarket school, and you'd possibly be exposed to both hunters and non-hunters in that environment. But in your general circles, I know we try and stick around people that are the same as us. But what do your friends and the other kids think about you guys hunting?
It's definitely different talking to my guy friends versus my girlfriends.
Okay.
It's immediately when you mention to a guy that you hunt, it's like, what? You hunt, but you're a girl. Like, that's the immediate reaction. And they think it's the coolest thing ever. Versus talking to my girlfriends who don't hunt, it's new to them.
Yeah.
And they almost see it immediately as just killing an animal. That's the end of what you do. Which is tough, and it's difficult to explain the whole experience to them, knowing they're not really going to understand. So yeah, sometimes you've got to tread lightly, but all my friends know what I do and they support me. They've said to me they'll come into the field with me but won't pull the trigger, and that's totally fine.
That's fine.
Half of the fun and memories is just being out there. Lots of hunts, you go on, you don't get any animals, yet so many memories are made. So
there's three terms, and if you ever get confronted with someone who's against you hunting, remember there's a hunter, there's a non-hunter, and then there's an anti-hunter. I've got no problem, obviously, with a hunter, and certainly no problem with a non-hunter. As long as the non-hunter makes the decision not to hunt based on facts and understanding. Quite often, though, anti-hunters, in fact, more often than not, the anti-hunting movement speak from a perspective of absolute ignorance. That's where it's our job to try and inform and educate people.
Yeah.
And hopefully they move across from being an anti-hunter to being a non-hunter. And who knows? They might end up on a hunt one day and appreciate it all the more. So.
Well, I've had quite a challenge going to Cape Town. I study in Cape Town.
Right.
And
Cape.
yes, and hunting isn't a big thing there. It's obviously kind of a normal thing in the Eastern Cape. But I mean, in my flat in Cape Town, I've got skins, I've got skull mounts. And when my friends come to my flat, it's a bit of a like, what do you mean you've got skulls on your wall, Kerry? Like, how is that normal? And I love it because it's a chance to talk. And when they hear a hunt, when I shot that animal, it's like even more mind-blowing. But it's they're always willing to listen and to hear what I've got to say, and being able to impart that knowledge on someone that has, or to someone that has no exposure of these things. It's really a cool opportunity to be able to do that.
Just the fact that you get enthusiastic about sharing the experience and that you're proud to be a huntress. It's very important. For a long time, hunters kind of spoke in quiet, hushed tones if they were in areas like the Western Cape, which is not traditionally a hunting area. But more and more people are speaking out. COVID, when we were all locked up and stayed inside, was a time that reminded us of the value of being outdoors and in nature. And that's the reason the hunting industry in South Africa has exploded, is because suddenly people were set free and could get out and go and hunt again. And all of those photographs of you guys huddling in the cold, I guarantee you those are the ones that your dad treasures, because they're the ones that I treasure, because those are the memories of that experience. It's not just about pulling the trigger. No, it's very cool. Let's get on to taxidermy, as this is Taxidermy Truths, but your perspective on hunting is as important as the details of taxidermy. This isn't on the list. I just want to hear some of your highs in the taxidermy shop. Seeing Dad working on a mannequin and a skin and shaving and fleshing and, fitting skins and anything that sticks out. I mean, you've literally spent your lives around your dad in the taxidermy shop. It's awesome.
One that definitely jumps to mind straight away, as you said that. We came home from a normal...
I was just going to say this.
Were you going to say this one? Okay, then do you want to explain this one? I've got another one.
No, you go.
See,
okay.
This is the sisters that I know. They truly are a dynamic duo, and it's very special. That's why I've been so excited to sit here today. It's very special that you've got two young ladies that are so passionate about hunting together. So I think that's something else. The memories that you've built together. I know it's with your dad, but the two of you, you're wonderful role models to sisters. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, back to you.
Came home from a normal day of school and turn around the corner, look to the fireplace, and there's a fully mounted lynx standing there. Now, at first, is this real? What is going on? And the closer we get, we can obviously see it's a mount. But just having a full mounted lynx in our fireplace, it was like the coolest thing. Taking selfies, taking photos to go show our friends. But that was definitely one. And then another one I want to mention is we were at aftercare. Do you remember? We had aftercare and Dad was fetching us from at like around 4 o'clock, get our school bags, and he has a fully mounted lion on the back of his bakkie. Can you imagine the commotion? All the kids run to the gate and like clinging to try to see, but there's obviously a few that are running towards the back like this lion is real, like we're gonna die, whatever. Me and Kerry get our bags, we're like, yeah, this is our dad, like, guys, look at us. We've got a lion on the back of our truck. Yeah. So that was definitely also a crazy memory, something that not many people are going to experience, getting picked up from aftercare with a lion on the back of your bakkie.
I think it's radical. You know what? The nicest, do you remember show and tell?
Yes.
I mean, my daughters loved it because show and tell, I just worked my way through the alphabet and there's bound to be an animal from M for monkey, E for elephant, and they'd bring a piece of this animal or a full mount. So they got to springbuck, got to S, it was a full springbuck that went into the classroom. Obviously, I mean, what else does the taxidermist give them? It just made sense. They loved it.
We also did a show and tell once, and it was almost like you had to give 5 clues about what you brought, and then they had to try guess what you'd brought with. And my dad gave me a glass eye, like an animal eye. I was known as the coolest girl at school for the next week, by mainly the boys.
And back then, a week was a long time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's important time. Yourself?
I think one of the most lasting memories is bringing friends and even family to the workshop and just seeing them. It's beautiful. You're just in awe. It's like, and I think so many people have, I know one of the questions coming is the misconceptions about taxidermy. But I think so many people think of it as dirty and gross, but when they come into that workshop, it's just, you can't help but just be like amazed. It's yeah. And being able to, I think Jess and I were still quite young that we don't necessarily remember those moments of us being in absolute awe. But being able to witness other people witness it for the first time is...
It's the experience with people. Yeah. And that's the same with hunting. It's the experience with people, loved ones, friends, family, even on your own. And the day will come you'll hunt on your own. You'll go on a hunt on your own. There'll be no one there when you pull the trigger. And those memories will be as vivid and hold elements that are very unique on their own. Yeah. Misconceptions? You brought it up. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think are some of the misconceptions about taxidermy? From a young lady's perspective, you've been brought up in a different era, certainly to me. What do you see as misconceptions?
One of the first things is that taxidermy, there's a lack of respect for the animal, or it's cruel. And it's actually the complete opposite. I mean, it's an art form to honor the animal and its beauty. And I mean, my friends also, when they hear my dad's a taxidermist, oh, it's dirty, it's stinky, it's bloody. And you walk through here and it's everything, it's the opposite. It blows your mind. It's not what you think it's going to be. Like Kerry said, mentioning family members walking through or Americans, it's
so much more than what you're expecting.
Yes, it exceeds your expectations. And so, yeah, I just think...
So it's not the dirty, grimy...
No.
You know, taxidermists aren't the weirdos who hang around in dark corners. Yeah.
Well, sometimes Dad would come home with a bit of a stench, but those days were minimal.
It happens. It happens. I think as a taxidermist, we've all been exposed to a rotten skull or 12. I think the misconceptions can be managed, and that feeds back to what I said earlier. You have a tremendous responsibility on your shoulders because you have the ability to change the narrative and tell people about the good of hunting, the positive of family time and outdoors, the experiences as opposed to the kill. And taxidermy, I've always said, is the most wonderful prop to an incredible story. So you have a friend around and they see one of the tuners in your home because your dad's an incredible fisherman. He's got this beautiful tuna on the wall. It allows you to talk about that experience, that day at sea. I mean, you both fish as well. I saw a photograph. Who caught that bass recently? You probably both did. I saw a photograph of you guys bass fishing. The bass was almost the same size as you. I mean, it's not a big bass, but but you both fish. You both hunt. You're outdoors women. Yet, you don't smell bad and you're pretty clean. And let's get rid of those misconceptions that you have to be a rough and tough chick to go and hunt. You don't. You can love being out there and wrap up warm, but it doesn't stop you from being an elegant young lady. And I love that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The last question before I wrap up. What's the connect between taxidermy and the hunt experience for you guys?
I think it just makes the whole hunting experience taxidermy. It really allows you to have a physical reminder of your hunt. And like my dad says, you can have 10 different trophies on the wall. You've got 10 different stories. And each one you're going to remember who you were with, what you were doing, the experience. It's a conversation starter. Like you said, when my friends come to my flat in Cape Town, they want to know, why do you have this skull on your wall? And I can tell them about my whole experience hunting that animal. It keeps your memories, but I think it also helps you honor the animal, which I really love. It's an art form, like you said, and it really just is a lasting tribute to that animal, I think.
It is. It's a lasting tribute to the animal. From a taxidermist point of view, the animal is the most incredible canvas for beautiful art. It's the connect is very real. The fact that you've got the experience of having skulls on your wall in your apartment in Cape Town when you're studying, and you're exposed to a less avid hunting community, yet people ask the questions. And the wonderful thing, because you've been brought up in the taxidermy shop, you're able to articulate how special it is and give them the truth about hunting and taxidermy. Very cool. I really appreciate where you've come from, the experience that you hold. You truly are an inspiration to young ladies. There are many huntresses out there, and I think they could certainly all learn something from you. The bond you have as sisters is remarkable. The bond you have with your parents, with your dad, and I know your mum is very supportive of the hunting as well, only speaks of the good that hunting and therefore the taxidermy does in the family. So like I said, we're family people, and we have the opportunity to spend time with loved ones, friends, get into the field, and once we've harvested that beautiful animal with all the memories, capture that into what is truly amazing taxidermy. I'd like to thank Jess and Kerry. Thank you. This is remarkable. From the little girl that I met many, many years ago to what sits here today. It's unbelievable. Jess, well done on finishing school.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. It's been fun.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I told you it would be all right. I told you there were a lot of nerves before the conversation because both are high achieving, very high graded pupils and students, unlike me that you could add all of my subjects together and I'd probably only get one of their marks. So guys, thank you. I appreciate it. And I do look forward to seeing you in the studio. I know you'll be around when you can, when you're on holidays and all the rest. But thank you for what you do for hunting, because you truly carry the flag for the next generation. That's Taxidermy Truths. Some special time with two special ladies who are passionate about hunting and who have been brought up in the taxidermy studio. Thank you.